Believe it or not, I have been keeping an eye on Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 thus far. I definitely agree with the appraisal by Robert Meyer Burnett. He's done some great rants on New Trek, and recently he's talked about Strange New Worlds, and I think he's really diagnosed some of the show's problems.
He talked most recently about this when he discussed episode 3 of season 2, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow,
which sees the character of La'an Noonien Singh approached by a member of Temporal Investigations who's travelled back from the past into the future, and he tells her to go back in time and stop an attack on Earth in the past. A major change has taken place there. The Federation was never formed, and instead there's only the United Earth Fleet, and James T. Kirk is the captain of the Enterprise and not Pike. Another alternative universe Kirk in this series. La'an has to work with Kirk, go back in time, and stop an attack in what was Toronto in the 21st century. They have to stop a time-travelling Romulan who's been made to look human. The Romulans have been working to keep humanity's technological development stagnant so that the Federation never forms in the future. Now, this all culminates in a personal choice for La'an regarding young Khan Noonien Singh. Continuity has been altered in this episode, whereby the eugenics wars no longer took place in the 1990s, but were moved further into the 21st century. The explanation is that temporal incursions have caused these events to be delayed till a few decades later. We first learned about the eugenics wars in the original series, in the 1960s of course. The 1990s came and went, so the writers of Strange New Worlds have decided to push these events further into the future. I think it's very silly. It's unnecessary, because as Robert Meyer Burnett has pointed out, Star Trek is not our reality, it's fiction. They can make believe that the eugenics wars happened in the 1990s, and it's okay, because Star Trek doesn't have to exactly mirror our history, and it can't. It's science fiction, it's fantasy, it's not real. I mean, by the same logic, if Star Trek is still being made in 40 years from now, should the future producers and writers of the franchise move the date of Zefram Cochrane's first warp flight and first contact with Vulcans from 2063 to some other future date? Because those events aren't going to happen either. It's not necessary to make these kinds of changes. This really leads me to one of my biggest gripes with the show. It's clearly, visually and tonally different to other Trek series, and that's fine. But there's no reason for the writers and producers to try to contrive some connection with long-standing Star Trek canon. Strange New Worlds obviously deviates from canon. I mean, just take the design of the ship. It's different to Kirk's ship, it's different to what we saw from The Cage when Jeffrey Hunter played Pike. And the bridge alone and the interior sets, they're nothing like they were from the original series. I can't understand why they just don't come out and say, look, Strange New Worlds is its own separate canon. It's a different universe, separate from the original series and the rest of the franchise. I would fully respect that. What they should say is that Strange New Worlds is inspired by the original series, but not canonically connected to it. But I suppose many fans already think this way in their own headcanon. So I'm going to get more into my thoughts on Star Trek Strange New Worlds right after this. Before we go very much further, it's time now for a word from our partner for this video, NordVPN, a virtual private network that will keep you secure and safe online. Your activity and personal information on the internet these days is becoming increasingly more visible to others, and for that reason, you need to take steps to protect your data and privacy. NordVPN provides you with next-generation security features that allows you to do just that. It provides advanced protection against cyber attacks, malware, and trackers, and lets you block intrusive ads. In addition to that, you can protect all of your devices on a single subscription. Nord works on Mac, PC, Linux, iOS, Android, and even your Wi-Fi router. Nord's 5,200 plus super-fast servers and groundbreaking Nord Links protocol mean that there's no bandwidth limits to worry about. Just a robust, secure, and really fast connection. And their no-logs policy means that there's no record of your web browsing history for third parties to see. You can hide your IP address with just a few clicks. Nord offers dedicated technical and customer support with a knowledgeable and friendly staff. Use my link in the description box and download Nord today. And if you make use of the discount code Dave Cullen, you'll get 1 month for free when buying the 2-year plan.
Okay, so welcome back.
The show still suffers from being what I would describe as moderately woke. There's clearly an attempt to deliberately have a very high percentage of female characters in positions of authority on the bridge. This doesn't detract from the quality of stories, but it does clearly show you a certain casting bias at work. In the most recent episode, Among the Lotus Eaters, we have yet more examples of Ortega's disrespecting the chain of command and authority with yet more backchat.
Lieutenant, break orbit and set a course for the debris field.
That's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea, she says, as her commanding officer walks on the bridge. Why is this acceptable?
They may protect us.
Before or after they pulverize us?
Before or after they pulverize us? What? What is with this sarcasm? Why is this character speaking to him in this way? Where's the respect? Where's the professionalism? Can you imagine Tom Paris saying that to Janeway after she gave an order? Or Mayweather saying that to Archer? Or Wesley Crusher saying that to Riker or Picard on the Enterprise?
Are you not able to safely navigate through the field?
Hey, now you're being offensive.
That's borderline insubordinate and highly unprofessional and disrespectful. It's not appropriate to speak like this. When your superior officer gives you a direct order, it's not open to debate. It's not supposed to initiate an argument. It's not a negotiation. You just carry out their orders. That's it. End of discussion.
I don't blame Spock. He's still got a lot to learn.
He's still got a lot to learn. Really? She puts that line in her personal log. His decision to take them to the debris field is what enabled them to discover what was causing the problem with the crew's memories.
Plus, he made up for it by devising a shield harmonic to protect us from the radiation.
The narcissism of these characters sometimes is off the scale. All of Ortega's piloting skills would have been for nothing if Spock hadn't devised the shield harmonic that protected them and gave them back their memories. Spock is truly treated like garbage on this show.
And he's written like he's a moron.
I would like the ship to go. Now.
Spock may be younger than he was when we first saw him in the cage, but only by, less than 10 years at this point? He can't have developed from awkward idiot to the stoic, confident intellect we knew in the original series in such a short period of time. We're constantly being shown how this crew are helping Spock become the man we knew, while tolerating his awkwardness and naivety, and it's getting old at this point.
Just learn when to leave people alone, Spock.
Sorry. I'm working on that.
He may be young for a Vulcan, but he's still much older than the rest of the bridge crew. He therefore has more to teach them. Strange New Worlds has a talented cast of actors, and it has characters who have potential if written well. Even La'an has begun to grow on me, especially since episode 3 of season 2. But the way the characters treat each other sometimes is just very off-putting. The female characters on Strange New Worlds sometimes treat male technicians like the IT guys in an office workplace.
The pitch and yaw controls are reversed from standard.
Standard positions aren't quick enough.
It'll only be a few minutes.
And I have a job to do. This is my station. So if you don't mind, thank you.
This is not how professionally trained military personnel communicate to each other. The characters are written like they work in a corporate office environment and not on a spaceship. But anyway, at present, the show lacks genuinely innovative science fiction writing or new ideas. The stories are just not that interesting. It all feels derivative and safe. It's not especially clever either. Many of the stories are similar to ones that we've already seen on the other Star Trek shows, and they were done far better on the other shows. I will admit, I find Strange New Worlds to be a watchable series at times, and sometimes it's actually pretty decent when it's not being predictable and boring. But it's just not a must-watch series in my view. It's just not appointment viewing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Look, I just want to make an addendum to this video because I feel maybe I've been too harsh in some respects. Strange New Worlds actually has enormous potential, and that's possibly why the show frustrates me so much, because it is not living up to that potential. It has great production values, fantastic visual effects. I really like the production design. the sets and everything, and the uniforms, the costuming. It has a very good cast of actors. The writing just needs to improve. If they cut out all the things that I've complained about, and if they just said, look, we're going to forget about canon, we're doing our own thing. This is a separate Star Trek universe, all of its own. And if they brought in some very talented science fiction writers who had some interesting and unique new ideas, this show could be something very, very special indeed. But as it stands, I don't know, I'd give it maybe a 2.5 out of 5. Some weeks it feels like a 3-star kind of show. But it's Star Trek, and it should be the best science fiction on television right now. And unfortunately, it's just not living up to the reputation of this long-lived, fantastic franchise that we love so much. And I will always give praise where praise is due, even to shows that I haven't enjoyed in the past. You know my thoughts on Star Trek Discovery. I think a lot of people know how much I despise that show. And yet there was an episode in Season 2 which I very much praised as being a fantastic episode of Star Trek, which was If Memory Serves. Likewise, in the first season of Strange New Worlds, I thought the premiere was okay. Children of the Comet was, middle of the road. Ghosts of Illyria was an improvement. And then Memento Mori, which was episode 4 of season 1, I thought was excellent. I thought it was one of the best episodes of Star Trek I'd watched at that point since Enterprise. Spock Amok the following week, I thought that was a nice comedic episode. I lost interest in the show after that because I just couldn't get through episode 6. I thought the season finale, A Quality of Mercy, was really well done. I think so far this season, episode 1 was a bit hit and miss. I think episode 2 was very boring, was very dull courtroom. It wasn't even a good courtroom drama episode. Episode 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, felt like a mashup of 2 episodes. A Voyager episode called Relativity, which involved time travel in 7 of 9, and an Enterprise episode that also involved time travel called Carpenter Street, where T'Pol and Archer have to go back in time to Detroit in 2003 or so. So Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow didn't feel especially original in that regard. But what was nice was the performances of Christina Chong and Paul Wesley. They played very well together. Something new from La'an and a new vulnerability there and a likability, and I really liked her story arc in that episode. Paul Wesley put through a really great performance, even though I think he's still miscast as Captain Kirk. I just don't buy him as Captain Kirk. I don't feel like he has the presence or the look of a Kirk, if that makes any sense. Episode 4 then, as I've mentioned, Among the Lotus Eaters. I think it's a classic throwback episode to the original series. Planet-based. The away team is infected by something that's wiping their memory. And I really liked the world-building element of how they explained the culture that emerged on Rigel 6 between the ruling class inside this castle and the peasants who were laborers who worked outside, and the divergence between the two, which emerged because of this strange memory-wiping phenomenon. There's a man on the planet who helps them try to make sense of this and understand their place in this world as they've lost their memories, but I just didn't buy the villain. A former away team member from the Enterprise who got left behind in a previous mission to Rigel 6. He influenced this culture, he became their leader, and then he became the dictator ruler of the planet. I just didn't buy that. It just wasn't believable to me.
So I don't really have much more to say at this point. Those are my thoughts on Star Trek Strange New Worlds after the first full season of 10 episodes, and so far after 4 episodes of the second season. I'll continue to watch and see if things improve. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.